Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales of Middle-earth, the series in which we explore stories and locations unrelated to our journey in Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and today we have a very special episode because today is also Tolkien Reading Day. And this is the first time I'll do something on the channel to commemorate this occasion. Very excited to do that. And that's why I am here in the Prancing Pony. Our journey begins today in more ways than one at the Prancing Pony. So the theme for today, for this year's Tolkien Reading Day, is travel and adventures. And in case you didn't know or need a refresher, Tolkien Reading Day is a celebration held on March the 25th, the anniversary of the destruction of the ring, to commemorate Tolkien and his works and to have some reading on his name. So, well, we are playing a game, we might do some reading in it, but the idea behind this is, since this year's theme is travel and adventure, I'm gonna do some traveling and adventuring on my own. And for doing that, we're actually gonna talk to Gandalf. And we're gonna do
Why do you disturb?
the road to the Lonely Mountain. We're gonna check this in just a minute, but this road to the Lonely Mountain was a quest line that introduced you to some instances, and all this was during the Riders of Rohan days back in 2012. This was the instance cluster of that expansion. There were no instances in Rohan, so instead, what the devs did was creating this quest line that would take us from Bree to Erebor. You keep in mind, this was before that landscape was introduced to the game, so this is just through instances. And this was done to coincide with the release of the Hobbit movies and trying to draw some of that audience into the game. So you'll see that in just a moment, but basically this will take us through the Misty Mountains, Goblin-town, Mirkwood, Dale, and the Lonely Mountains. So in a way, it's mirroring Bilbo's own travel and adventure. This is one of the reasons why I have chosen this topic for today. On the other hand, well, we are the ones that will be doing this trolling and adventuring, but also all this was happening almost at the same time. Well, not almost, at the same time as the last days of the War of the Ring back in the south. So the Battle of the Pelennor Fields was on March 15th, and that is when the battle at Dale began. And then, well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but the battle in Dale lasted for about 3 days, after which the armies of Dale and Erebor retreated to the Lonely Mountain, and there they held the enemy. It was a relatively long siege, lasted for about 10 days, until the news of the destruction of the ring and the fall of the enemy reached the northern lands, and the Easterlings fled the battlefield. So this is all that we're gonna witness today. As I was saying, our journey begins here with Gandalf, and let us talk to him, see what is the deal with this.
Why do you disturb me?
My friend, as you know, a great battle was fought at the foot of the Lonely Mountain many years ago. Now, with trouble staring in the east, I am concerned. I wish to know what has happened to our allies and enemies of the past. Master Elrond in Rivendell is preparing for a council which includes representatives of every folk and many lands. Perhaps he may have more insight as to the troubles. Are you willing to travel to Rivendell on my behalf? I have arranged for the swiftest travel possible to Imladris. So this is a very curious quest line because it does begin before the Council of Elrond, but it ends after the destruction of the ring, something that the game basically took 10 years to cover, but this particular quest line does it in just a couple quests. And as you see here, this begins in Bree. I didn't remember this too well, and I was thinking maybe I could headcanon this in some way as some reinforcements sent from the south to aid in Dale to justify why Beriathan was able to witness the destruction of the ring and the celebrations in Cor Malin before going into Mordor. But well, the timeline in LOTRO is really tight, especially with this questline. You cannot possibly be in two places at once, so that's why I didn't do this as part of the main series. That's why this is instead a Tale of Middle-earth. There's no way Beriathan could have been in those two places at once, basically. So yeah, this happens before the Council of Elrond. As soon as you accept the quest, you are immediately transported to Rivendell. The funny thing is, even though you do need to talk to Elrond, for whatever reason, you are not taken to the last homely house. I mean, if the quest was already bringing you here automatically, it could have also brought you a little bit closer, but it doesn't. And this is a great way for low-level players to reach Rivendell, and in fact, ever since this questline was released, that's one of the alternative uses other players have for this quest. You basically accept the quest, get your free travel to Rivendell, cancel the quest before talking to Elrond, and that way you can repeat this as many times as you like and can avoid traversing the wild if you are not high level enough. As a Warden, you already have the Master in Rivendell, and that brings you even closer to the last homely house. So Wardens and Hunters don't have much use for that strategy, but if that would be useful for you, by all means, do it. Now you'll see here the last homely house is still rocking its old design. So yeah, this is being recorded before update 35 goes live. You can see that by looking at all my skills. The Gambit builders look like the old versions. They all have the red background. I have a lot of javelin skills that will disappear after update 35. But I mean, I couldn't wait to do this, and gotta have this ready before Tolkien Reading Day comes, right?
Dark days are coming.
Welcome, Beriathan, and well met. I understand that Gandalf the Grey has sent you to me. That is well, for I do indeed have knowledge of our allies and enemies of old, or rather, those who have come for counsel do. If I were you, I would speak with Glorfindel by the stream outside my home. He has friends among the Great Eagles and has received dire news. As well, speak with the Elf Prince Legolas and Boromir, Captain General of Gondor, at the guest houses. They also bear news of the outside world. I don't know, maybe the quest does bring you right next to the guest houses so that low-level players have an idea of where they need to go, but well, you have the quest tracker for that. So I don't know, maybe I'm trying to read too much into it. Bottom line, we gotta talk to Glorfindel, Legolas, and Boromir, so that's what we're gonna do right now.
What do you need?
Beriathan, man of great repute. I assume that Master Elrond has told you of my travels, or at least somewhat of them? I have received word from Gwaihir the Windlord, a king of the Great Eagles of the Misty Mountains. Stone giants have stolen an egg from the eyries of the Great Eagles and purpose to eat it. Gwaihir is greatly distressed, but cannot take the matter upon himself. He has asked for aid, and perhaps you may be able to give it. Travel to Iovar's Peak and rescue the eagle's egg. Eovar's, I don't know how that thing is pronounced. I don't know, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but Is that one of the giants that you encounter in the Misty Mountains? Because the first half of this quest gives you the chance of revisiting some places we had already been to by 2012. We get to revisit the Misty Mountains, we get to revisit Goblin-town, we get to revisit Mirkwood. So we begin by treading through familiar grounds, but I'm not sure about that giant specifically. That also reminds me, this quest line was actually done in two halves. The first half was this that I just talked to you about, the Misty Mountains, Goblin-town, and Mirkwood, and the other half was Dale and the Lonely Mountain. So, well, I thought that was worth mentioning. Anyway, we gotta talk to Legolas and Boromir. Let's give these guys some time to load.
What can I do for you?
Erebor Peak. No, it's a landscape. It's not the name of the giant, but it's a location where you can also visit in the Misty Mountains. It's not exclusive to the instance. Beriathan, you are a warden of some note. Perhaps you may be of service to my father. I was sent here with dire news which I will only speak of in Master Elrond Council. But there is another matter of import that needs to be addressed. My father is concerned by the increased stirrings of the great spiders. Our scouts tracked the origin to the Scuttledells in southern Mirkwood, but we have heard nothing from them since. Will you journey to the Scuttledells with your allies and discover what has happened to them? Swift travel shall be provided to you. And what about Boromir?
What can I do for you?
Ho there, good man. As I traveled here from Gondor in the south, I was troubled by goblins from the Misty Mountains. From their words and through rumors I learned from the scattermen abroad, I deemed that a new great goblin has arisen within their midst. I thought this might be of concern to the Master of Rivendell, for Imladris lies within the shadows of the mountains. Would that I could take upon myself the glorious adventure of bringing these goblin skips down around our ears, but my errand is of vastly greater import. Perhaps you might undertake this adventure? So, as you see in here, we gotta complete these 3 instances. So we gotta begin by doing Erebor's Peak. And yeah, we're gonna tackle this in the geographical order, basically. Wouldn't make sense doing it any other way. So we gotta look for the road to Erebor is the name of the instance cluster. We begin with Erebor's Peak. This can only be done as a 3-man, but it has a minimum level of 20. So since this is a minimum level of 20 for everything, I am very confident that we can knock this fast enough to cover everything in this episode. So let's have our fingers crossed and let's go.
A stone giant dwelling upon Yorebar's Peak has taken an egg from the eyries of the great eagles. Gwaihir the Windlord has requested that you brave the storms of the mountain and safely secure the egg before it becomes the giant's next meal.
Alright, so we have a couple new deeds in here. Completed tier 1. Completed challenge, but we gotta do that at level cap, so that's not happening today. Complete tier 2. But if we cannot complete these at tier... If we cannot complete this challenge, there's no point, basically. We cannot complete the meta deed. But that's not the focus of today. This... I mean, I knew this would be easy. I knew I would be just going through these as if they were made of paper, but... Comfort the egg, have you? You will never take it from me. Turn back now, puny ones, or this mountain will become your grave. So as I was saying, yeah, this instance cluster, this quest line is following the tracks of Bilbo's own adventure. Not only because you are traveling through the same locations, following the same path, but you're also meeting some of those characters as well. You got to revisit the Eagles. As far as I remember, the last time we had seen the Eagles before this quest line was released was inside the Great River. So yeah, we got to meet the Great Eagles again. The Spiders of Mirkwood. The Great Goblin, of course. I always forget about that one. And then we got our first peek. And our first peek at Dale and the Lonely Mountain. I'm not entirely sure how similar those maps are to the versions we eventually got in the game, but that's something that I'm also really curious to check. We'll see how we do. The first gate has opened. Care to test why Helfen trusted Elrond as allies? Come with me. You will witness our cunning and strength. Yeah, I can say the same for myself. Scarfer. Oh, that means... Oh, I already... Scarfer, Nolar, Ingimar, listen to my orders, brothers. We do not want to fight, Guthvin. We want to play our game. I have new rules for your game. Heed my commands, for there can be but one winner, and to he goes the glory. Proceed with your stomping and boulder catching for now. I must test the mettle of our would-be intruders. Let us begin. I will blast you into pieces. Guthvin and his minions have been defeated. Yeah, basically. Seems you have won the game. Go on then, we must rest. The game has ended. I rather enjoyed it. Off you go now. Wake me when it's time to eat. Yeah, that's not happening either because I'm taking the X from you. But yeah, you see how this one works. At certain morale thresholds, the dwarf will call some ads. And in regular situations when this fight lasts longer, you also gotta keep an eye for the spots where the giants will throw their boulders. But of course, right now we can bypass all mechanics in here. Oh, a mammoth. Alright. Yeah, I also forgot the stone giants were also mentioned in The Hobbit. As far as I remember, they do not appear in the Lord of the Rings. I think the only mention of the stone giants in the Lord of the Rings is in the prologue, when you are reading the summary of The Hobbit. It's the only mention of the stone giants. So yeah, this... Once again, is revisiting the idea of The Hobbit. The stone giants are playing with the boulders. It's hard to traverse the mountains. That's what takes Bilbo and the dwarves into the Black Crack, where they are taken by the goblins. So once again, it's not only the same locales. We also have the same themes, the same characters too. Your little annoyances are no longer amusing to me. How dare you interrupt my supper? Your journey ends here, little worms. The egg is mine. You will not take it from me. What about this one? Egg damage status. Arham powder kicks have begun moving towards the egg. So that's something that you also gotta do. You gotta stop them from reaching the egg and damaging it. And Gwaihir has come. Awesome. Thank you for keeping safe this egg. I am in your debt, friends. I will take the egg back to the Eyrie. You had better begin your descent before more giants arrive. May we speak again in less harsh conditions. Safe journeys. Yeah, so once again, it's not every day you get to meet Gwaihir. So, you're very welcome. Nice meeting you here. Anytime you need some help, just sound the alarm. We'll come running. Now, I think, yeah, this is the exit, well, technically the entrance to Goblin-town. But since these are all separate instances, it's a shame, but no, you cannot do them back to back. So that means we go now to the seat of the Great Goblin. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, that's what happened when we crossed the last portal, right?
The denizens of Goblin Town have remained long in disarray after the death of the Great Goblin and their defeat at the Lonely Mountain. Whispers have traveled through the Misty Mountains of a new Great Goblin, a leader whose return could spell doom for the free peoples of Middle-earth.
Alright, so here we also have, well, we completed these 2 deeds, 40 medallions, not bad. And we have these new deeds as well. Okay, we gotta discover some goblin murals in here. Defeat the Great Goblin rapidly after engaging him in combat. That's challenge, but we cannot do challenge anyway. Tier 1, Tier 2. That's basically it. Alright. We gotta discover the murals. And I think one of those murals also has a direct connection to the book. To the Hobbit, I mean. Now, I think this guy was supposed to alert these other goblins of our presence. So ideally, you would want to take him out before he can alert the other guys. But, well, once again, we can safely bypass all mechanics today. Whoa, that guy fell from up above. Did you see it? Now, I don't remember where the murals are. Ah, it was not a goblin, it was a bat. Alright. Oh, here we have one mural. Does that count? Let me double check that it. No. Doesn't count. Discover the first, second, third, fourth, fifth mural. Let me add this to the deed tracker because you have discovered the first goblin mural. Yeah, we just gotta go a little bit closer to it. I don't know what this one is depicting. Some kind of battle, some fires, but I cannot discern exactly what this is. I guess we'll need to open those doors after clearing some of the odds up above. Is that it? Are the other murals? I wonder. Well, here we have one. And this one is The second goblin mural. Okay. Seems we are doing this in the intended order. So let's follow the path for now. How are these sappers not dying? No, yeah, I think you cannot. You try to cross this bridge that will take you to the throne. And who is this miserable lot? Thieves come to pick away at the treasures of my people? Murderers sent by those wretched elves. No matter, who are you to storm so brazenly through my domain? I have dealt with your folk before, and so I shall again. Come, my subject, this great one demands your service. Down! Down! Down to Goblin-town. There we go. I think this is the first boss. We need to activate this guy. We need like to come closer? No. Doesn't seem to be. Yeah, there he comes. He's gotta fight the ads and then he'll come. He'll start gaining some buffs. Oh. As I was saying, we can bypass most mechanics. This floor hits by a lot too. I'm not sure if it's a percentage based or if it's a fixed value, but it hits by a friggin' lot. I hope this is the last one. Oh my god. Would be really bad if I were to die to this guy. Yeah, thank you. He's been defeated. I'm not sure if the third mural is somewhere in this sort of arena. Maybe. It's been so long since I came here, since I did all this, that I really can't remember. Yeah. We have discovered the third goblin mural. Depicting Gollum, of course. So, I think this one is slightly different from the mural in the landscape version of Goblin-town. Yeah, here we have Gollum Cave. So it's nice to see. You can also explore these in the instance. If you are still not high level enough to go to Goblin-town in the Misty Mountains, in between levels 20 and 40, basically. You can still come here and check the cave. And that's a really nice detail. I didn't remember you could actually explore Gollum's cave inside this instance, but there you see it. And I also think that the mural depicting Gollum is slightly different than the one that we can find in the regular version of Goblin-town. But well, at least here it is. I also think we gotta hurry this up a little bit so that we can complete all instances in today's episode. All the instances are actually really short, so I think we are still on track to complete them all today. But well, this is Tolkien Reading Day, so I also want to read some of the passages that inspired me to for choosing this location for today's episode. I don't think there is another mural in here. We are just missing the 4th and the 5th. Let's hope those two are upstairs. Yeah, I think we are right on track. I think we just gotta do some extra exploring in here. Maybe here upstairs we'll find the ones we're missing. It's been so many years that I really cannot, for the life of me, remember the locations of them. I've been lucky so far that just by following the instance you are taken to the places you need to be. But yeah, I don't see where the 4th one and the 5th one will be located. I have the feeling it's gonna be somewhere in here. Ah, yeah. The 4th one, the Eye of Sauron. Can you see it? 4th Goblin-town mural. And I hope that means then that the 5th one is gonna be there with a boss. I know. It seems it's this one actually. We have discovered the 5th goblin mural. Works. Yeah, you see the eagles. So this is from the book too. You can see Gandalf there as well on the top left with the hat and the sword and the staff, and the eagle. The dwarves of course have beards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. You can see Bilbo right behind Gandalf with no beard. Oh, what a nice detail. I love it. I am not sure what the first or the second one were showing, but what a nice little bit of storytelling we got in there nonetheless. Oh, so you finally arrive. You think yourselves bold? Clever? Neither your precious wizard or his weapons of ages past will save you from my people this time. Miserable brutes, so be it. Ah, the crown. My chance arrives at last. Uloga was weak. I shall show you how a great goblin can be. My reign had just begun. Goblin-town is mine. Die! Die! Now, how many great goblins can there really be? I always found that amusing. How you... how... Well, you see how all goblins are waiting for their chance to take the throne? And the quick succession that we witness inside this instance is very fitting for the goblins. But it's also really funny. I think so. I'm having a great time reliving some old memories. It's been more than 10 years since the last time I did this. And I remember I had everything here except the challenge for Whips of the Scuttledells. That one was a pain, and I think it maybe still is.
The great spiders of Mirkwood have begun to stir again, and the elves of Thranduil, king of Mirkwood, seek to learn the cause. What dire darkness has arisen within the wood to summon forth such evil?
We're gonna find out soon enough. So, we gotta complete Tier 1, Tier 2, the challenge, and the quest. Once again, we cannot complete the challenge today, but we can complete the other deeds, and we also gotta complete this quest.
The shadow has risen.
Ah, a friendly face in this dark wood. My Lord Thranduil sent myself and several other scouts into this part of the wood to investigate the increased stirring of the great spiders. We found this place overrun, but were unable to locate their queen. We decided to separate in order to cover more territory, but it proved too dangerous. I barely escaped, and I fear my companions have been captured. Please, search the cocoons along the twisting paths and see if you can find them. Now, something that I have just realized today after all these years is that you gotta free 13 elves, much like Bilbo, who had to rescue 13 dwarves. Well, although in Bilbo's case he had to rescue technically 12 because Thorin had already been taken by the elves, but I think this is what this quest is referencing in here nonetheless. I must return to Thranduil's Hall. Yeah, you better run. So, yeah, we are literally following now Bilbo's footsteps. Well, I guess we've been doing so all this time. Dealing with the stone giants and dodging their boulders, then dealing with the Great Goblin in Goblin-town, and even getting to Gollum's cave. And now, fighting the spiders and freeing our allies from the cocoons. This is all just revisiting the events of The Hobbit in their own original way, and once again, it all makes sense. This was made as an unofficial tie-in to the movies, and I think at that time we didn't know exactly how much would the first movie cover, but that's something that the game had over the movies as well, the ability of going from the Misty Mountains to Erebor in one go. Basically, for the movies we had to wait years before that happened, but not in here. And I gotta say, realizing now to the extent to which all these quests are mirroring Bilbo's journey, this is making me appreciate this questline so much more than I did the first time. Just the really small details, actually, that I hadn't paid too much attention to the first time. Or the first couple times, even. Especially here in the Scuttledells. I don't remember exactly how many times I ran this instance trying to get the challenge and failing at that. But even then, I never realized this connection to the book. Can you please all die? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, what an interesting find, I gotta say. This, of course, is Southern Mirkwood, not Northern Mirkwood, but once again, you also gotta keep in mind, back in the day, Southern Mirkwood was all we had. So yeah, it was a little bit trying to reach the Lonely Mountain from Southern Mirkwood. We were closer to Dol Guldur than Erebor, but, well, the depths were also playing around their limitations. Can't really blame them for that. And I always hope that when the game reached Southern Mirkwood, it reached Northern Mirkwood and the Dalelands and Erebor, we would get an update to this quest line, but from what I've seen so far, that didn't happen. And once again, that's understandable. The devs also have, well, limited resources, so I guess revamping a 10-year-old questline is not a priority by any means. What a shame. It would have been really cool if some of this had been updated after the introduction of it in Lasgalen and Dale and Erebor. Prepare to join the ranks of Dol Guldur's dead. Really, how many of these bosses with moral thresholds do we need to have? Oh, he's dropping a lot of paddles. Well, that was it, at least. Alright. Time to continue looking for cocoons. Yeah, I thought as much. The great thing is that this also counts for the Slayer deeds of the Misty Mountains and Southern Mirkwood. And being able to advance these deeds, even if it's just a little bit, but advancing these deeds by completing the instances is also an extra bonus that it's very much welcome too. 9 out of 13. It would have been really, really cool if the devs somehow could have managed to find a way to justify in their story dwarves being captive and not elves. Maybe an expedition sent from Erebor, something like that. You imagine, even like even if it was just one of the dwarves from Thorin's company getting recaptured by the spiders, can you imagine the kind of things a dwarf from Thorin's company would have to say about this? That would have been hilarious. It's a shame that we didn't get it. Nothing against rescuing elves, mind you. It's just that now that I'm thinking about this relationship with the books, that seems like a missed opportunity. Would have been really great. Just missing one. Nope. What about you? Nope. Oh, come on. Okay, captured. Okay. That's all the elves, spiders and flies. Is that also the name of the chapter in The Hobbit? Now I got curious. I gotta check. Just give me a second. Yeah, spiders and flies is the name of the chapter too. I knew it. Awesome. This is amazing. Ah, you have come, whoever you are. I found the Queen of the Spiders, a creature like none I have ever seen. I was attacked by some of her hatchlings and wounded, though none of them survived to report to their mother. I will keep torches lit for you. Hurry. Slay the foul beast and her spawn. Be wary though, stay up on the thicker strands lest you perish. Yeah, I remember this challenge now. You had to grab the torches and burn some of the webs in here, but you had to be really careful on where you stood. Yeah, that was a pain back in the day, but now, maybe not so much. Yeah, I mean, I really don't need to worry about challenge now and the webs and everything. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I remember now why grinding this challenge mode was such a pain, and I'm not looking forward to it. I don't think I ever will. Or, well, maybe if at some point we have a king run doing that, I might consider it going for the challenge. But not today, no. Who knows? With the stat load that we have now, these instances were not designed with this stat load in mind, so maybe they will be easier to solo now. The issue, from what I remember, is this challenge mode specifically required you to have more than 2 or 3 people, basically. You needed 2 or 3 people in there to be able to burn everything and not fall. I mean, it was a pain. Even if you can one-shot it, I'm not sure you can still complete a challenge. I don't know. I don't remember what that thing had us do, but well, I'm glad I was not aiming for challenge today, basically. Oh yeah, we gotta really hurry up. It's taking longer than I thought. And maybe these 3-man instances are longer than the other ones. I remember the other ones, the raids especially, being actually not that long. Let us see.
Dark days are coming.
You have done well by the free peoples of Middle-earth, Beriathan, and are deserving of a great song. But dire news has come to me, and I must now think upon the correct course of action. I will summon you again when I have come to a decision. Thank you. So I was saying, yes, this was released in 2 halves. This was the first half, and basically this quest would only advance after the second half was introduced to the game. We don't have this issue now. We can just continue.
Will you lend me your aid once more?
Beriathan, Lord Gloin of the Lonely Mountains, spoke of an emissary of the Dark Lord who came seeking news of Bilbo. They turned him away, but the emissary threatened them with war. You should speak with Gimli, Gloin's son, here in Rivendell to learn more of their concerns. I was already there. Yeah, this is also what I meant when I said I was hoping this questline would be revamped a little bit. Going back to Elrond for every step in the questline is really a little bit of a hassle. Especially if you stop to think about it. We crossed the Misty Mountains, attacked Goblin-town and came to southern Mirkwood, closer to Dol Guldur than anything else, only to come back to Rivendell to be sent back again. This is the kind of back and forth that, well, while not game breaking by any means, it does break the immersion a little bit. Would have been really nice again if they had added some different NPCs. Now that the entire of the locales is in the game, yeah, having some NPCs like go talk to this guy in the Misty Mountains. Alright, now go talk to the complete the instance. Now go talk to this guy closer to Goblin-town, complete the instance. Now go finish crossing the Misty Mountains, go to the Dalelands, the Vales of Anduin into Erin Lasgalen, talk to this other guy, complete the instance. Go to Dale and Erebor to talk to these guys, complete the instance. You know, that kind of deal would be a really nice adjustment for the quest, in my opinion. But I guess it's more convenient just talking to Elrond. So, maybe that's why. Ah, my friend. Master Elrond speaks true. An emissary came and spoke terrifying words to King Dain. We did not reveal any information that would be of use to him, and he warned us of war. We have received no word of enemies moving upon our realms, but if you find yourselves traveling in the north, would you please determine what, if any, threats are apparent there? And for this, we gotta complete Vales of Dale. Also gonna do this really quick. Let's see.
Aid will not come to the men of Gondor from the north, for in these last days of the Third Age, war has come to the foot of Erebor. Easterlings answering the call of the Dark Lord prepare to besiege Dale and the Lonely Mountain. The only comfort is that Mordor's host will also be bereft of these forces.
Ah, a friendly face, a fortuitous meeting to be sure. A vast army of Easterlings calling themselves the Jangovar are approaching the eastern banks of the River Running. I have sent most of my fighting men to form a defensive line on the western bank. We will hold them off as long as we can, but I need your help. A few Jangovar raiders have already broken into the city. Defeat them, then proceed to the bell tower and ring the bells. The people must be warned to retreat to Erebor. So they have left to fight the Easterlings at the river, and we'll rejoin King Brand shortly, but first we gotta help evacuate the people of Dale. And yeah, you can see some of the similarities with the landscape version of Dale that we ended up getting, but it's not exactly the same, I don't think. No, there are some places that I don't recognize. I always thought the LOTRO team would use these as the template for what Dale would end up looking. And once again, you can see the similarities, but it's still quite different. That's a little distracting, but not game-breaking again. You are too late, little worms. The great eye has turned to the north. The beautiful village shall burn first, and we shall bring the lonely mountain down atop the earth diggers. To arms, Jangovar! burn this miserable village. Jangovar to me. Yeah, this boss will just keep on calling ads. Just gotta keep an eye on the ads. Defeated Skrisk. That was it, basically. Getting a lot of loot as well. Now these shadow rats, we'll get to learn more about them as we advance through the instance, I think. Give me a second, now that I come to think of it. We have not checked the new deeds we have gotten in here. Well, I think I had already come here at some point, but we gotta do tier 1, tier 2, the quest, the challenge, and the optional quest, Tormentors of Dale. That is basically some optional bosses. Now that I come to think of it, I think these were the very first side bosses, maybe? The side bosses were really popular during the Anvil and Remerhan days. It seems this was the origin of that. These guys in here. Grass and Lars. Yeah, once again, you see this kind of bridges and stairs in Dale, but it's not the exact same landscape. Here they come. Now, where is Lars? We gotta find that guy too, but I think we are still right on track. Yeah. Right before the final boss. Defeated Lars, completed the quest, got 1 mark. The bell tower is the same, so I don't know. I think we'll need to do a closer comparison between this instance and Dale, but I don't know. You have come too late, fools. The bells of Dale will be destroyed, and the outlying villages will be unprepared for the vengeance of the Jangovar. When the Dark Lord summoned us to battle, my master Yet-Kejin the Violet forbade us to come. But we knew it was a test. Yet-Kejin is an emissary of the gods, and Sauron is chief of the gods. So in the name of Sauron and Yet-Kejin, you shall perish. To what our master will know that we are loyal, spirits of earth and fire. Arise! So he seems to be talking about one of the blue wizards. Shadow Rat, okay. Okay, we have saved Dale. We have ranked the bells. As you see in there, you gotta keep an eye for the shadow rats. You cannot allow them to reach the tower, or they will damage the bells. And after you defeat the ads, the boss becomes vulnerable, and you gotta do a couple cycles of that. And the music of the bells. How cool is it, right? This was truly one of the best instances of this cluster. The landscape, the fights, it was so much fun and so exciting. Kinda feel bad. Leaving it. Alright, now we gotta complete a flight to the Lonely Mountains. So this is when we'll get back to King Brand. This is the first raid of this cluster. Wish me luck.
The ring has passed beyond my vision into the pass of Cirith Ungol. Dale has fallen in the north, and the survivors of the siege are retreating to the Lonely Mountain, with the Easterling forces not far behind them.
Alright, so this is the retreat that I told you about at the beginning of the episode. This one that happened on March the 17th, a couple days after the Battle of Pelennor Fields. We hear complete challenge. Well, once again, gotta be at level cap. Tier 1, Tier 2. We got the meta deed, the road to Erebor. Basically completing all the meta deeds for a steed with a worsted appearance in defense of Erebor. Complete all the challenges and all tiers for all 3 raids. Okay, we can complete some of this. But here we have Brand and Dane. My people are retreating as we speak, but the Easterlings are closer than we thought. These are women and children. They will not make it unless we buy them some time. Then we shall do so, my friend. My axe and your sword side by side, one last time. This is my fight for my people. Your battle will come soon enough, I fear. I will see you again soon, my friend, in this life or the next. Make sure you get to the safety of the Lonely Mountain. If you wish to fight, I will not deny your aid. We must buy as much time as possible, no matter the cost. This crossing must be held if my people are to survive. I give my blade to Dale. And here we'll have the enemies. So once again, we are really strong. But even though we are really strong, we gotta be careful not to kill things too fast, or we will be overcome with odds. Horn sounds. The enemy has been alerted to your presence. Yeah, these guys apply a lot of nasty debuffs. And once again, you don't want to kill them too fast. Because if you kill them too fast, you will be overwhelmed. I'm thinking maybe... Yeah, this sounds like a sound strategy. Spamming the ranged morale taps before they can get me, before they drop the paddles, because they can do that. Yeah. Jesus. They stun you and they can get really annoying doing that. Oh, come on. Yeah, no, we cannot. Oh, for God's sake, use your morale tap. Beg you. Wow. Yeah, these bottles, oh, come on. They are really a pain. Please tell me that's it. There's some lagging here with my masteries, but as laggy as today has been, I think this strategy with the ranged gambit is working marvelously. And yeah, that was it for the instance. So basically the way in which this instance works is you will get waves upon waves of enemies, and once again you really gotta try to space them out if you're doing this on level, because getting overwhelmed as I did on level is deadly. But the thing is that this is a timed instance, you just need to survive the set amount of time. I think it's 10 minutes, and you gotta make sure to defeat all the enemies before those 10 minutes end to succeed in this instance. As we have seen, Brand has fallen, covering for his people, and Dane has fled to the Lonely Mountain. So while we wait for this instance to be completed, I think we can check some of the passages of the books that on the books that deal with these situations. So in Appendix B, for example, Appendix B, which is the Tale of Years, we have first of all March the 17th, Battle of Dale, King Brand and King Dane Ironfoot fall. Many dwarves and men take refuge in Erebor and are besieged. Shagrat brings Frodo's cloak, mail, shirt, and sword to Barad-dûr. So we have not seen the fall of Dane quite yet, but I don't remember if we see that one in game. But yeah, this is when Brand and Dane fall. Now that we're talking about Dane, his demise is very tragic in my opinion, and Dane is quite an important dwarf in both the books and the game. So I also want to bring your attention to this portion of Appendix A, actually, not Appendix B, and Appendix A being Annals of the Kings and Rulers, and this is from the section of Durin's Folk. So it's telling the account of the Battle of Azanulbizar and the death of 9 by the hands of Azog, and then Azog and his orcs start fleeing, and then it says, up the steps after him leaped the dwarf with the red axe. It was Dane Ironfoot, Nain's son. Right before the doors he caught Azog, and there he slew him and hewed off his head. That was hailed a great feat, for Dane was then only a stripling in the reckoning of the dwarves. But long life and many battles lay before him, until all but unbowed he fell at last in the War of the Ring. Yet hardy and full of wrath as he was, it is said, and when he came down from the gate, he looked grey in the face, as one who has felt great fear. So, I really found that curious how the red axe is mentioned here in the appendix. I had forgotten about that actually, but it's really interesting to see what the devs did with the red axe and how they turned it into the emblem of the Iron Hills and the importance it had for Durin and everything else. It's impressive what they did with just one line in the book. All the amount of world building they were able to do with it. And once again, you can check some of my videos of the Black Book of Mordor and the Legacy of Durin to see the importance that the Red Axe has on those storylines. So yeah, I thought it was a really nice touch, and I was very surprised to find that by reading the appendix. And I'll try to make sure I don't forget about the Red Axe from now on. There are a couple more passages that I would like to read to you that pertain to today's episode, but I think they fit better or after we finish everything else in the raid. So we just gotta wait for the timer to stop. Well, for the timer to end. It would be really nice if the raid would complete by either A, defeating all the waves of odds before the time runs out, or, well, I mean, if you defeat all the waves of odds, you just need to basically AFK for the remainder of the fight. So it would be really nice if the game could identify when all the odds are defeated, and if you have more than X amount of time left in the clock, it automatically completes, instead of having you just standing there doing nothing while you wait for this to be completed. But well, for the time being, we just gotta wait. I will say again though, this strategy of using the ranged gambits was really good. I didn't think about that one the last time I soloed this raid, and I'm glad I thought about this today. So yeah, I think I gotta make more use of the range stance. You've seen from my videos that I'm not a big fan of it. I don't use it that much, but with the changes for the Warden that will come to update 35, now that the gambit effects will be consolidated regardless of your stance, I think switching back and forth from melee to ranged is gonna be a little bit simpler, easier for me to do at least. So who knows, maybe you'll see me playing ranged Warden a little bit more often. It's still not on my plans, but who knows what's gonna happen after the update goes live, right? Maybe there will be a niche for Yellow Warden, well, not for Yellow Warden, for Range Warden, that I will feel comfortable playing, because right now I don't like the current meta of Yellow Wardens going ranged for the buffs and the debuffs and switching back and forth between instances. Not a big fan of that, so maybe the update will change that gameplay loop. That's my hope. We'll need to wait and see. But for the time being, in the meantime, we can have some fun with this instance and this questline. Poor King Brand too. It looks such a sorrowful sight. Yeah, completed flight tier 1. Finally, tier 2. The Easterlings have been driven off. The clearing is held. The people of Dale will make it to the Lonely Mountain. Alright. Just let me take the picture of King Brand. Yeah. What do we have in here? Some completed deeds. Basically tier 1 and tier 2. 100 medallions. Awesome. Alright. Let us grab the chest. You can exit the instance through this horse. Now complete the Fires of Smoke. Is the next raid. Level 20. Tier 2, let us go.
The dwarves of Erebor wish to send forth ravens with news of the Battle of Dale and to request aid, but the Easterlings have constructed a device of great evil to smoke the dwarves out of the Lonely Mountain.
Alright, so we have some more deeds in here. Tier 1, Tier 2, and the meta deed for completing challenge as well. Basic stuff. What do we have here now? Of course, those dastardly Easterlings. I do not think they will stop until we are all in our graves. And I fear that infernal device is going to send us there. A machine of war fueled by an ancient dream and built to smoke us out of the mountain. But the smoke isn't your normal campfire variety. It's strange, filled with noxious vapors from foul concoctions. Neither we nor the ravens will last long against it. I believe the valves can be used to control the device and how much smoke it sends into these tunnels. We took this mountain back from Smaug an age ago. It shall not belong to anyone but a dwarf. Tear down the pipes, smash the valves, and destroy the furnace before it destroys us all. In case you haven't noticed, we were talking to Bifur and Bofur, fathers to Rogur and Bori, fathers to Bosi and oh my god, and Bori. Yeah. I think, oh my god, Ambroin, no. Bosi and Broin, Bori and Broin. Got a little bit confused, but you get what I mean. And 2 dwarves of Thorin's company as well, so was also really nice meeting these 2 guys. I think this is the first time these 2 guys appeared in-game, Bifur and Bofur. And I was kind of sad we didn't get to see Bombur, but seeing how fun he is, him being on the battlefield was a really unlikely scenario. So for this one, this furnace has been modeled after Smaug. You can see it in there, we'll get closer in just a moment. But the thing about this instance, as the dwarves have mentioned, there are 4 valves, and this machine will send smoke through each one of these valves. So you have to periodically come in here, close those valves before they send the smoke into the tunnels and make the dwarves leave. You don't want to get the dwarves out in the open because otherwise they'll be slaughtered. So this machine is fueled by a fire grim. You just gotta defeat it. The thing is that well, we are doing this over leveled. It shouldn't be too hard. At certain morale thresholds, it will send smoke through the pipes, so you gotta make sure the valves are closed. But ads will come to protect the valves, and also at certain morale thresholds, this guy will summon another Easterling close by that will absorb all damage done to it. So there's a lot of moving pieces on this puzzle, but I really enjoyed this instance, and the coordination it required, it was very different from your regular tank and spank or any other mechanic we had there back then or that we have gotten since then. I really like the valve closing mechanic, but this challenge is really hard. I'm once again glad we are not aiming for challenge today, because I don't know how we could do that. The battle has begun. A fire tender is the guy we need to defeat. Another fire tender approaches. And that's it. If you're fast enough, you don't need to worry about smoke flushing out these guys. But yeah, you'll see it summons a lot of odds. The green has been vanquished and Ravenhill is secure. I'm glad for that. We really don't need to clear these odds, but it's fun nonetheless. But yeah, you gotta... When you are doing this on level, you gotta be really coordinated with your group, closing all the valves before the smoke goes out, splitting the group, and then going back to the Grim to fight it, fight the fire tender, then go back to the valves. It was a lot. At least with my king, we weren't able to do it on challenge. We were able to do tier 2, but challenge is more unforgiving than just regular tier 2, so yeah, this one also brings memories. A lot of reminiscence today. And finally we end with the Battle of Erebor. And there we go.
The Easterlings in the north are dismayed by the news of defeats in the south, and the time has come to break the siege of Erebor. However, Sauron's champions await you at the gateway to the Lonely Mountain.
Alright, so first of all, we got the deeds. Well, here we have the deeds we completed, but here we have the new deeds. Battle of Erebor, the meta deed, but we also have the Battle of Erebor challenge, tier 1 and tier 2, basic stuff. So, this version of the Lonely Mountain doesn't resemble at all what we got in the landscape. This one looks really cool. It's a shame we didn't get this set of stairs, for example. I think those stairs were kind of mentioned in the book. Or maybe those were the steps to Rivendell. I'm not sure, but I really like this version of the Lonely Mountain. It's what I'm trying to say. Our supplies run low. The battle must soon end before we do. If we are to win this battle, we must end it here and now. Word has come from the south of a great victory. Doubtless the Easterlings have this news as well. They will be weakened by this news and vulnerable. The time to strike is now. It is time to call their champions to battle to defeat the best they have and drive them from Erebor. Yes, but that is not enough. We must show them we can withstand anything they have. Tear down their banners, dare them to throw everything they have against you. And when you have crushed it all underfoot, they will have no choice but to retreat. Now go forth with the day, shatter their army, and break this siege. Win the day. Yeah, that's where we're going. So, once again, here we have Nori and Dori. Dori we had already met in Volume 1, but he's very different. His model, at least, is very different in this occasion. But here we have these two dwarves. Once again, this doesn't resemble what we have on the regular landscape at all. Well, maybe a little bit, but not too much. You'll see in just a moment. So here we have the two bosses. We have Badog and Laukshad, two different trolls. One negates melee. Oh no, both negate the damage. Okay, so he negates melee and he negates ranged and tactical. And when they are close to each other, they deal more damage and they take less damage. But once again, at level 20, we don't need to worry too much about it. But as you might imagine, you need to split them up to complete a fight. But you also gotta pick some of these banners. And this is kind of like pick your poison. You gotta choose which debuffs you will get in the fight. On tier 1 you gotta choose 2, on tier 4 you gotta tier 2 you gotta choose 4, and for challenge you gotta pick them all, but challenge only works if you are at level cap. So I don't remember what I did last time. We can do honor guard and reinforcements. That's just adds. We don't need to worry too much about adds. And we have a inferno and catapults that will apply some debuffs after a certain time has passed, but if we are fast enough, we don't need to worry about these ones. Blood Brothers, I'm not entirely sure what that one does. Blood Rage, but that sounds nastier than all the others, so I think we will be okay with these ones. So we just gotta defeat these guys to end the battle and break the siege. Once again, word has reached them all of Sauron's defeat, but we still gotta make our way out, and that's what we're gonna do. And at least now, well, one of the advantages of the Warden having the melee and the ranged stance means that you can basically just switch stances if needed. Was not necessary today, but As a warden, at least you have that extra flexibility. So, what do we have in here? So we completed the meta deeds for finishing all raids in Tier 1 and Tier 2. And also the battle for Erebor Tier 1 and Tier 2. The Easterling army has been shattered. Completed the battle for Erebor. Some medallions, some marks. 50 and 50, you see that in there. And these meta deeds didn't have extra rewards, but that's okay. So we just gotta claim our rewards. So yeah, as I was saying, as you see here, this is really, really different from the Erebor we know and love, although the entrance is kind of similar. So with Dale and with Erebor, you can see where they took inspiration from these places to build their own landscape versions, but there are also significant differences in them all. But yeah, that was basically it for the instances. Now we just gotta talk to Elrond back at the last homely house to complete the quest line. Well, I say quest line, but as you see here, it was just a really, really long quest with many different stages. In the end, it's basically the same. So we're just gonna complete a quest line. We're gonna read the couple extra passages from the appendices that moved me choosing this topic for today's episode for Tolkien Reading Day. And yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more about it. I hope you are in for it. It's not gonna be super long, but there are still a couple things I want to mention. So, back to Elrond it is. Who knows? Once again, maybe I'll give it a try at soloing some of these challenges. Maybe just a couple of them. I think I can pull a couple of them, I hope. Who knows? But here we are.
A strange fate brings you hither.
I have seen that your aid has been of great benefit to the men of Dale and the Dwarves of the Lonely Mountain. However, there has been a great cost. Gandalf arrived not long ago. Tell him what you have learned, both from your adventures abroad and from our words together. Tell him aid shall not come from the north, for either the Free Kindreds or the Dark Lord. Once again, this is supposed to take place at the same time as the Battle of the Pelennor Fields and the Battle of the Black Gate, so we should really be talking to Gandalf the White. But, well, back in the day, Gandalf the White had already been introduced in the game, but it would feel really weird having Gandalf the White in the last homely house, because the last homely house is stuck on December 24th. So yeah, the timeline in the game, it's a little bit confusing at times.
Why do you disturb me?
So, the elves of Mirkwood are besieged by spiders and the dead. We cannot hope for aid from them then. The goblins of Goblin-town are busy squabbling among themselves, so I foresee them being of little threat. The great eagles have ever been my friends, and I expect that friendship shall not wane. I grieve that the folk of Brant and Dane shall not come to the aid of Gondor, but at least there is some small comfort in knowing that whatever foes march upon them shall not be brought to bear against the South Kingdom. Thank Beriathan for your assistance. Okay, so there you have it. That was the road to the Lonely Mountain, the quest, the instances, and once again, I think this fits really well this year's episode, this year's theme of traveling and adventure. Not something that was specifically within the books, but it runs parallel to the events of the books, and it also revisits some of those events. We saw how the first half of this questline was basically adapting Bilbo's adventures and reliving Bilbo's adventures in a way. And the second half was happening basically at the same time as the battles of Pelennor and Monanon. So it was also touching the books on that regard. And that was what I wanted to mention as well. I had it in here. This is also from Appendix B. At the same time as the great armies besieged Minas Tirith, a host of the allies of Sauron that had long threatened the borders of King Brand crossed the river Carnin, and Brand was driven back to Dale. There he had the aid of the dwarves of Erebor, and there was a great battle at the mountain's feet. It lasted 3 days, but in the end, both King Brand and King Dain Ironfoot were slain, and the Easterlings had the victory, but they could not take the gate, and many, both dwarves and men, took refuge in Erebor, and there withstood a siege. When news came of the great victories in the south, then Sauron's northern army was filled with dismay, and the besieged came forth and routed them, and the remnant fled into the east and traveled Dale no more. Then Bard II, Brand's son, became king in Dale, and Thorin III, Stonehelm, Dain's son, became king under the mountain. They sent their ambassadors to the crowning of King Elessar, and the realms remained ever after, as long as they lasted, in friendship with Gondor, and they were under the crown and protection of the King of the West. So this is really the strongest tie with the theme of a traveling and adventure. We did some traveling on our own. You can hardly argue war is an adventure, but what we did to get to the battle was an adventure in and of itself. We had also the opportunity to reminisce, especially about Dain and his life, the importance of the Red Axe. It was a really nice thing to read about and refresh my mind on. But you would remember also at the beginning of the episode I said that today's episode began in more ways than one at the Prancing Pony, and that is because of something that Gandalf also says after the end of the War of the Ring. So let me see, I had it in here. So it was that when the war came at last, the main assault was turned southwards. Yet, even so, with his far-stretched right hand, Sauron might have done great evil in the north, if King Dain and King Bran had not stood in his path. Even as Gandalf said afterwards to Frodo and Gimli, when they dwelt together for a time in Minas Tirith, not long before news had come to Gondor of events far away. "I grieved at the fall of Thorin," said Gandalf, "and now we hear that Dain has fallen, fighting in Dale again, even while we fought here. I should call that a heavy loss, if it was not a wonder rather that in his great age he could still wield his axe as mightily as they say that he did, standing over the body of King Bran before the gate of Erebor until the darkness fell. Yet, things might have gone far otherwise and far worse. When you think of the great battle of the Pelennor, do not forget the battles in Dale and the valor of Durin's folk. Think of what might have been. Dragonfire and savage swords in Erebor, night in Rivendell. There might be no queen in Gondor. We might now hope to return from victory here only to ruin and ash. But that has been averted, because I'd made Thorin Oakenshield one evening on the edge of Spring and Bree, a chance meeting, as we say in Middle-earth." So this is talking about how Gandalf and Thorin met at the Prancing Pony, and after some talking, they decided to meet in Eret Luin and talk about Erebor, talk about Smaug, and that was the start of the quest for Erebor and Bilbo's adventures that ended with the defeat of Smaug. Without that, Smaug would have been alive and would have destroyed Dale, Rivendell, and God knows what else. So our adventure started in the Prancing Pony because that's what eventually allowed Bilbo and us to get to Erebor. So there you have it. that was our adventure for Tolkien Reading Day. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Let me know in the comments below, how do you plan on honoring the professor's work today? For my part, my local Tolkien Society will be doing some readings at some libraries, but also some virtual meetings. I hope to attend them. Still don't know which one precisely, but I really hope I can go. But I didn't want to let this date pass without doing something to honor the professor and his work. So once again, thank you so much for watching today's Tales of Middle-earth, and join me next time when we will explore many more locations and stories that are still left untold. For the time being, this has been Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and I want to wish you a happy Tolkien Reading Day. I hope you take the time to read a little bit more, pick your favorite topic, and let's just continue enjoying the professor's work. Until the next one, my friends, stay safe, take care, good luck to you all, and I will see you later.